Imagine this. You've been pushing yourself to succeed, to evolve, to become a better version of you. But no matter how hard you try, it's never enough. The more you climb, the further away the summit feels. You are exhausted, bone-deep tired in a way that no amount of sleep can cure. And yet, you keep going. You set more goals, you read more books, you attend more workshops. Because there's always something to fix, always something to improve. It's like there's an endless list in your head of things you need to be, do, and achieve. But here's the thing. What if none of it is the answer? What if doing nothing is the most powerful thing you can do? What if the real key to healing, to growth, to finally feeling like yourself again, is to stop trying to fix everything? What if it's about surrendering, not striving? About allowing space instead of filling it with more tasks, more goals, more inner work? You might be shaking your head, thinking, but how can doing nothing possibly help? You've been taught that in order to improve your life, you have to be proactive. You have to push. That's what all the books say, the podcasts, the gurus. And yet, here you are, burned out, caught in the cycle of never enough. So let's pause for a moment. Let's explore this idea together. Because what if the real power comes from letting go of the hustle? From resting, from being still, from simply being. In this video, we're going to dive deep into why doing nothing is not only okay, but transformative. It's not about laziness. It's about reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your wholeness. It's about rediscovering the power of stillness. You've been on the path for a while now. Personal growth, spiritual healing, mindset work. You've done the inner child meditations, the shadow work journaling, the affirmations, the somatic shaking, the morning routines, the breath work, the retreats. You've read the books, you've watched the videos, you've followed the coaches, the mentors, the spiritual teachers. Some of it helped, some of it felt like home for a little while. But then the high faded, the new insight dulled, the same old feelings came back. And so you went looking again. Because maybe you missed something. Maybe if you go deeper, try harder, meditate longer, align better, then you'll finally feel okay. But here's a question you might be too exhausted to ask. What if your constant self-improvement is just a more sophisticated way of abandoning yourself? What if all this fixing is just another form of running, a spiritualized perfectionism, a coping mechanism wrapped in good intentions? It's hard to see it because self-help feels productive. It gives you a sense of control, a plan, a project, something to pour your energy into. But underneath that busyness, there's a quieter truth, one that maybe you've been afraid to face. You're tired, not just physically, existentially. Your soul is tired of being treated like it's a problem to solve. Your heart is tired of being dissected for wounds to heal. Your nervous system is screaming for something softer, slower. But the self-help world doesn't teach you to stop. It teaches you to optimize, to keep tweaking, to keep grinding your soul down into something more presentable. It's not that the tools are wrong. Healing is beautiful. Insight is powerful. But it becomes a trap when it's fueled by the belief that you are not enough as you are. And so without realizing it, you've made a home in the cycle of perpetual healing, of always chasing wholeness but never arriving, always managing symptoms of unworthiness instead of sitting still long enough to hear what your body, your spirit, your being is truly asking for. Maybe it's not another practice. Maybe it's not another book. Maybe it's nothing. You lie in bed, staring at the ceiling. The weight in your chest is familiar now, like a quiet ache that never fully leaves. You scroll past another inspirational quote on your phone, something about rising, glowing, transcending. You don't even flinch. You've tried. God, have you tried? You did everything they said. You made your vision board. You faced your shadows. You turned pain into power and trauma into teachings. You transformed until you couldn't anymore. Until even the idea of healing felt like another thing on your to-do list. You can't cry anymore because even that feels like performance. You can't meditate because your mind is so loud it feels violent. You can't even fake gratitude because nothing feels real. You're not lazy, you're not weak, you're done. Not in a dramatic collapse on the floor kind of way, but in the quiet, numb way that happens when your nervous system finally says, no more. You start to question the entire game. Why is it never enough? Why does peace always feel just out of reach? Why do you feel more broken the more you try to fix yourself? And then comes the scariest thought of all. What if I stop trying? What happens if I just stop? Not out of defeat, not as a tantrum, but as a whisper from somewhere deep inside. A place beyond logic and discipline. A place that remembers something softer. You're not falling apart, you're falling into yourself. Because before the practices, before the plans, before the tools and strategies and 5-step programs, there was you, just you, breathing, existing, alive. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. You stop, not because you figured it all out, but because you're finally too tired to pretend you need to. And something strange begins to happen. At first it feels like emptiness, like standing still after sprinting for years. You're so used to running, the stillness feels like failure. But then, the quiet becomes something else, like how winter looks dead. But beneath the frost, life is resting. Like how the earth turns away from the sun, not out of despair, but because darkness is part of the rhythm. Doing nothing is not decay, it's compost. It's the fertile silence between notes in a song. You start to notice things you never could when you were busy fixing yourself. The sound of your own breath, the weight of your body on the couch, the way the sunlight feels on your skin at 3 p.m., the ache in your chest that doesn't need to be healed, just held. You begin to see that doing nothing isn't the absence of life. It is life, raw, unedited, undistracted, like a tree in winter, bare and unapologetic, still rooted, still alive. You are allowed to rest. Not because you earned it, not because you reached some spiritual milestone, but because you are a living being, and rest is your birthright. There is nothing to become. There is only something to remember, that before the striving, before the trauma, before the identity built from productivity, there was a you that didn't need to do anything to be worthy of love. That self is still here, quiet, waiting, whole. And when you finally sit down, not to meditate, not to analyze, not to work on yourself, but to simply be, you give that part of you permission to surface. Doing nothing becomes sacred, like letting the earth hold you, like trusting that you don't have to earn your right to exist. This isn't giving up. This is coming home. Let's be honest. Doing nothing sounds terrifying. It sounds like passivity, laziness, giving up. But that's not what this is. Doing nothing is not checking out. It's checking in. It's choosing presence over performance. It's letting go of the illusion that you must earn your peace by effort. It doesn't mean you sit in bed forever, binge-watching shows while your life falls apart. It doesn't mean neglecting responsibilities or ignoring pain. And it's not some secret life hack to fast-track your healing. It's a shift from force to allowing, from grasping to receiving, from fixing to witnessing. So what does doing nothing actually look like? It looks like sitting on your porch and watching the clouds pass without trying to have an insight. It looks like lying on the floor and feeling the weight of your body without needing to change anything. It looks like breathing, just to breathe, not to regulate, not to optimize, not to be more spiritual. It looks like letting thoughts come and go without grabbing onto them, like noticing tension in your body and not immediately stretching it away or labeling it as trauma. Just being with it, companioning it. It's deeply somatic because your body knows this space better than your mind does. Your body has always understood the language of stillness, even when your thoughts were loud and restless. And yes, there's discomfort. There will be urges to get up and do something productive. There will be a voice whispering, You're wasting time. You're falling behind. You should be healing right now. That voice isn't the enemy. It's the echo of a nervous system wired for survival. It's the part of you that was taught early on that being still wasn't safe, that love had to be earned, that rest meant laziness, that doing nothing was a threat. But here's the miracle. Every time you resist the urge to fix, every time you choose softness over striving, you're rewiring that narrative. You're healing not by doing more, but by finally proving to your body that it's safe to not hustle. That's how nervous system healing begins, not with massive breakthroughs, but with micro moments of stillness. Moments where you feel the sun, sip your tea, and don't reach for your phone. It's in those spaces that your system learns, I don't need to be in survival mode anymore. I am safe here. I am enough, even now. Doing nothing is not the end of growth. It's the beginning of true integration. Because all the insights, all the healing, all the work you've done, it doesn't take root when you're grinding. It takes root in stillness, in space, in silence. It's the moment when you let your body lead, when you surrender to its wisdom instead of bulldozing it with your will. So if you're asking, how do I start? Start small. One breath, one pause, one moment of not doing, just being. Let that be enough. Because it is. Here's the part no one tells you until you've collapsed into it yourself. Real change happens the moment you stop trying to change. I know, it sounds backwards, counterintuitive, even infuriating. You've spent years collecting tools, reading the books, meditating through your anxiety, journaling through your childhood wounds. You've been so good at healing, so committed, so dedicated, and yet exhausted. That's the paradox. The more you chase transformation, the more it runs from you. Because chasing is a nervous system in fight or flight. Fixing is a form of control. And sometimes, the very act of trying to change yourself is how you avoid meeting yourself. There's a moment in every spiritual journey, every healing path, where you hit a wall, where the mantras don't work, where the cold plunges and breathwork and cacao ceremonies stop landing, where you look in the mirror and whisper, I can't effort my way into wholeness anymore. And it's in that quiet devastation that something ancient begins to stir, something older than your strategies, older than your identity, something beyond the mind. It's your body's knowing, your soul's rhythm. That gentle truth that healing was never about becoming something more. It was always about returning to what you already are. That's the paradox. That peace doesn't come when you arrive at some enlightened version of yourself. It comes when you let go of needing to. It's not resignation, it's reverence. It's not giving up, it's giving in. To the intelligence of rest, to the guidance of your breath, to the wisdom in your belly, your bones, your tears. Because here's the quiet secret that starts to bloom in stillness. Your body remembers how to heal. Your soul remembers how to unfold. You don't have to figure it out. You have to get out of the way. And in that surrender, what you were seeking finally finds you. Not because you hunted it down, but because you made enough space for it to arrive. Something happens when you stop pushing. Something strange and beautiful. You begin to hear again. Not the noise of the world, not the static of your inner critic, but the gentle voice that was buried beneath all the striving, a whisper that says, you were never broken. You don't have to prove your worth anymore. You can rest now. And slowly, you start to reclaim the pieces of yourself that were waiting beneath the hustle. Not productivity, but presence. Not ambition, but alignment. Not motivation, but meaning. You start to notice the way light moves through your room in the morning. You let your shoulders drop without needing a reason. You laugh, genuinely, for the first time in weeks. Not because you tried to feel joy, but because joy found you when you made space. This is the gift of doing nothing. It's not a break from life. It's a return to it. And you begin to realize The world didn't fall apart because you stopped grinding. Your value didn't disappear because you took a breath. In fact, the opposite happened. Your creativity returned. Your intuition sharpened. Your nervous system softened. You didn't become lazy. You became available to the moment, to your truth, to the deep river of life that was always carrying you, if only you'd stop paddling so hard. This is your reclamation of rest, of rhythm, of enoughness. Not because you finally earned it, but because it was always yours. So here you are, not broken, not behind, not unfinished, just here, breathing, feeling, existing. And maybe for the first time in a long time, that's enough. You don't need another checklist. You don't need another tool. You don't need to figure it all out. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to stop fixing yourself. In fact, maybe that's the most radical thing you could do, because rest is resistance. Stillness is sacred. And doing nothing might just be the most powerful thing you ever choose. So take this moment. Close your eyes if you want. Feel your breath arrive and leave, without effort. Let this affirmation move through you gently. I let go. I allow. I am. Now, if this spoke to you, if some part of your soul exhaled hearing these words, share that gift with someone else who needs it. And tell me in the comments, what's one thing you're ready to stop fixing? Leave A in the comments if you're ready to surrender, if you're ready to remember, if you're ready to rest. Until next time, be still, be soft, be you.